Welcome back to SpeakPact. I am your host, Antoniette Rose, and I am with Roy Vela today. He is going to share some deep insights into what took him from deep tech to the big stages. So, Roy, welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Antoniette. How are you?
I am well, and I'm so excited. I'm well now.
Yeah.
Whenever whoever's listening to this, we had some massive storms in Texas, which kind of was a huge upheaval yesterday and this morning, but all is well, hopefully, from here on out. Let me know. So, you always been drawn to tech, and what kind of brought you there?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a science geek. I've always been a science deep tech geek. My wife likes to joke around that I'm an inch deep but a mile wide in science. I could talk to any scientist pretty solidly for 15, 20 minutes, but then I'll hit a cliff where I'm like, okay, that's everything I know about what you're doing.
Nice.
And yeah, so I've been a tech geek from the early days, coding in BASIC when on my Commodore 64 and this kind
I
of
love it.
stuff. So yeah, so love science and technology and always have.
Well, I know done high end tech, the merchant services for PayPal,
Mhm.
some other very well established, well known companies, which I'm sure there's a bunch of competition for. So you must know a little bit more than 15 minutes worth of tech, at least.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say the secret sauce is pretty simple. It's curiosity, right? I'm sort of insatiably curious. I think that there's something to learn from everyone I interact with. I take meetings from people way junior than me to way senior than me to different geographies. I don't because I haven't lived your life. At the end of the day, everyone has a different experience, and so there's something to learn from everyone. I have many calls where the person we hit the end of the call and they go, I don't know anything about you. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm a bit of an inquisitor. Like, if you'll keep answering questions, I'll keep asking them because I am eager to learn and hear what you've done and how you did that and why did you do this and how did that happen and blah. I mean, I probably should be an interviewer because I just can do that infinitely. It's because it's fascinating, and sometimes it goes personal about life decisions, and sometimes it's professional about how deals happened or whatever. But yeah, I think curiosity is kind of the root of all exploration and learning and knowledge.
I was going to go that direction. If you're genuinely curious, and you and I have met before, I know how personable you are and how you actually do seem interested, right, in people other than yourself. You would make a great host. So if I ever have to take a day off or so, I might be hitting you up.
Sure, I'll tag in. Yeah, no problem.
So tech to the stage, kind of give me that journey. What brought you that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people often that my for all my advanced degrees and fancy diplomas, the best education I probably got was in improv. And
Improv. Wow.
yeah, improv training. I would say it's almost essential to my life. We are storytelling and digesting creatures. We've been doing that for hundreds of thousands of years, and we used to all practice it. We'd get around the fire and everyone was both a sender and receiver. Everyone would tell stories and everyone would receive stories, and it was a constant practice. Then radio happened, then television happened, and the internet, and the mass of people became receivers instead of senders, right? I mean, the practice of storytelling, I think, is essential to almost all commercial interactions, right? And so I
Mhm.
love. I did straight theater first, in high school and college, but then I took improv post college, and then I did improv at Stanford and then post Stanford in San Francisco, and it's addicting. And the reason I bring it up is that um, we all know it intuitively. So status. So a high status character stands very still and speaks quite slowly and is comfortable with silence. A low status character is the opposite. They're on the move. They're jiggling. They're ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ooh. They use all the there's a whole bunch of things in improv that you learn about storytelling, about the arc of a story, about characters, about body language, about presence that apply to improv, but frankly apply to life. Like,
Mhm.
and so I've always loved being up on stage, and then that got applied to commercial life. Like when I started my first startup, pitching the business is storytelling. You're telling a good story. At PayPal, when we were starting merchant services, we were on stages, telling our story, and I love it. I love it. And because I had practiced it, I was pretty good at it. Right?
Well, I love this tip because we either feel funny or we don't feel fun. Like we feel like we're naturally fun and funny, or we're naturally not fun and funny. And I think there is a lot to be said for you're really kind of putting some light bulbs off in my own head that maybe that would be a fun journey to go down. I have always felt like the geek, right? I'm a little bit along your lines, right? Research, give me it all, right? I want the deep details that nobody else really
Yeah.
most other people they want, just the information, not all the deep details.
Hmm.
I've always been more on the intense side. And my sister could just walk in a room and she's already fun. Like she doesn't even have to answer, she doesn't even have to open her mouth. And she is just naturally fun and funny. Right.
Sure.
And so I think we tend to think that's either going to be natural or not. But what you're saying is it could actually be learned. Where
Oh,
would you go? Like if today you were going to tell an emerging speaker, take some improv classes, where would you tell them to go?
yeah. I mean, the reality in today's world is that there's improv classes everywhere, right? Like, I mean, they are, your local community college is offering improv classes, but actually a lot of the the groups. So, Bay Area Theater Sports in the Bay Area is a professional improv company, but they give classes, right? Second City in Chicago, where I also went, like it's a professional organization, but they give classes, right? Like New York, like, I mean, you name it. If you're in any near any metropolitan area, there will be improv classes available. And frankly, nowadays you can probably, I mean, I think it would be hard to do it remotely, but you could probably find things on YouTube and elsewhere, right, around improv. But fundamentally, it's about storytelling. It's and the fundamentals of how we tell and receive stories, and body language and consistency. The an improv audience is very forgiving, but as long as you're internally consistent, right? So internal consistency is a good thing. Like your story has to hold together. When I'll give you a quick example, like when you're on stage in improv and you create a space. So now I'm washing my hands at a sink, or over there is a door that I just came through that now everyone sees. Once, if another character, or if I say someone else creates an environment that I then break by walking through a door without opening it, the audience literally flinches. They go, "Whoa!" Like you just walked through, like that accident, you have to then justify. Like, like the sink, hands at a sink, and I walk through it. I have to say, God damn it, why did we put the sink on wheels? All of a sudden, now it's good, right? Like, now it's good. Now they're like, the sink's on wheels. Like, as long as you, and that's the same with any story. As long as there's internal consistency and you're staying true to the environment that you've created. So if I'm pitching a startup, I just need internal consistency throughout, and people are comfortable. If I break something, if I say, and I'm going to take 100% of the market, they go, hold on a second. Like, this kind of thing. Anyway, my point is that there are tools to improv that are readily available. There are great books. Impro is a great book, without the V, by Keith Johnstone. It's one of the originating books of the style. But again, I think it needs practice. Like, I would really recommend. And by the way, it's not essential. Tons of public speakers have never done improv.
But it really is. You're exactly right. That internal consistency, that ability to kind of make, because something will always go wrong, right? To make light of that and find a funny way to
Sure.
keep people with you because you never want your audience to feel sorry for you. Like that's a killer. So if you have just that muscle already flexed, then you're going to be more likely to be able to pivot to funny. I do know of one, and he's amazing. His name is Jace Souter, and he does Be Funny, Make Money. He does a retreat. I had actually signed up for his retreat. I believe they're in Idaho, but I
Mm-hmm.
actually signed up. Something happened and I wasn't able to go. But I remember thinking, I'm just going to be so out of my element going there. So I probably could have fought harder to go. But I think there is kind of a hiccup in some of we speakers who maybe don't necessarily see the bigger value in it. And I am gonna you've inspired me to re-sign up for that because I think it
And by the
really is
way, be
important.
funny. At the end of the day, funny is about truth.
Mm,
So, so the reason we laugh at stand-up comics and the reason we find things funny is that there's a truthful insight, a nugget that has been spun around to look differently, and then if that's amusing, right? Is when
yeah.
someone spots truth and highlights it and takes a lesson from it that you didn't expect, right? That messes with your expectations a bit. But at the end of the day, like if it's not, I mean, it's striking when you think about it. If you look at a stand-up comic, they are speaking truth. They are truth sayers. That's what they do, and they shine different lights on that truth, right?
Yes.
That make it entertaining.
Yes. I love that you said that because we tend to tell on ourselves on stage. We get on stage and we tell on ourselves. If you do it right, that's great, right? If you do it where you're nervous, you're rocking back and forth, which is a self-soothing kind of thing that makes everybody nervous,
Yeah,
or you're just overtly awkward. You're telling on yourself that you're
yeah,
thinking more about yourself in that moment than you are the audience. So why not own up and somehow make light of the truth that maybe you're a little bit feeling a little out of your element or whatever, but do it in a way where it comforts the audience and gets them with
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
rather than makes them nervous for you.
And the comfort of silence, right?
Yeah.
Like the power, like one of the most powerful things you can do on stage is silence.
Mm.
And there's nothing that grabs attention more than a speaker who's being quiet, who's made a statement and is now waiting and letting you digest it, right? Like that's and but waiting in comfort, just standing there and letting you think about it. Not like looking around and not filling space. And we have these phrases on purpose. Like filling space is trying to alleviate discomfort by doing things that really aren't adding value. But if you make a statement and then you're quiet, people go, "Oh, I should. What did he just say? I should. I have to replay that in my head." This kind of thing. Um,
Yes.
Again, that's
That
very
is
high status. Quiet,
key. Yeah.
yeah, commanding attention and being quiet is super high status. People are like, "Oh, and again, you're playing on intuitive things. I'm not saying that anyone is sitting in their seat and going, "Wow, that person's high status." No, but the feeling is there, right? It makes a huge difference.
Oh, and the power of silence and not just filling up the space. Thank you for bringing that up. Because I think when we're nervous, we get quiet less, right? Or when we're feeling a lack of confidence, maybe we
Mhm.
will speak more to overcompensate.
Sure. Yeah. Um, and you're gonna pop out. Okay. So yeah. So high status is well. At the end of the day, we're tribal creatures, and we all have different roles that we play in. Oh, she's coming back. Antoniette, there you go. Okay, so I was just saying it's about tribes. We are tribal creatures, high status creatures, have demonstrate status by doing. And by the way, we're just fancy monkeys. This applies to chimps and bonobos as well. Like high status doesn't move very fast, takes deliberate action, so moves from place to place with intent, is fine with silence, making a statement and being quiet, or having someone else speak and being quiet. It is about cadence matters a lot. So a high status character will speak quite slowly, no ums, no ahs, no hahs, and won't move their head very much. So a high status character walks, speaks, walks, speaks. Low status is the exact opposite of all of that. Walking and speaking at the same time, moving your head around a lot, thinking about, I'm not really sure, like touching your face, like, there's a lot of motion in low status. And there's a lot of filling space in low status, and discomfort with silence, and discomfort with being anywhere in for too long. So if you're playing a low stat, if I come out on stage and I'm playing a teenager versus an adult, the teenager better be on the move, and the adult probably anchors their feet, right? And then relative to each other, if it's a group of teenagers, the leader will demonstrate high status compared to the rest, right? Like, so, and by the way, so everything about this is in relation. It's all about in relation to. And by the way, your audience is a player in the game, right? So they are participating in the status conversation. You get status from how the audience perceives you.
And in addition to that, right, you go to that play because you kind of know what to expect, but you're into it, right? We go to our favorite song, our band, right? And we don't want them to mess with it a whole lot. We know what
Right.
we're going to get, but
Right.
we go to our favorite restaurant, we order our favorite dish. It's usually we have a restaurant for a particular dish.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. I think that
Right.
speakers who get out there, they think they need 5 or 10 different talks. They dilute themselves. They actually harm themselves by doing that. Have
Sure.
one core talk, which is your core brand,
Yeah.
and then you can emphasize something or another, based on the audience and what the host wants. But if you go too far off, people are going to go, wait, what? I thought I was going to get this. That's what I came for. This guy would have probably been very disappointed if you would have changed it up too much. He's like, I really thought I was coming for the Roy Vela that I know, right?
Yeah. And by the way, so you hit on something that I think is important. My main deck when I first started doing it was a fintech, digital banking and payments deck. But there was a bunch of fundamental stuff that was more about the industry, more about the rise of mobile phones and the Apple iPhone and the arrival of blah blah. Like, there was all this stuff that it was kind of independent of industry, and then I would deep dive into fintech. When the Aviva CEO came up to me and said, "Do you have a section on insurance?" I said, "Yes." And then I went home and I made a section on insurance. And then so literally it became 80% of my deck was pretty much standard, and 20% were deep dives. People came up to me, "Do you have a section on oil and gas?" I do have a section on oil and gas. "Do you have a section on healthcare?" I do have a section on healthcare. Now, some people go, "So you lied?" I'm like, well, I mean, what I'm saying is I can easily make a vertical specialization for you. And what would happen? I would go and become a specialist in their segment and find all the use cases and find out what was happening. And then in my style, I would present their industry.
Yes.
When the CEO of Aviva saw the section on insurance, he was like, "Yeah, that's fascinating." And I'm like, "I know, I just learned that yesterday. It's amazing." But this is the thing. Like, you should be open to exploration and learning. Like, I have seen speakers say, "No, I don't really do that." Like, you don't really do that? Like, what does that mean? Like, yeah, you're smart. You're like, you could do that. Get a little uncomfortable. Go learn. All of human knowledge is at the tip of your finger right now. Like, that is not a hard thing. So
Yes.
do it.
That's so good. I'm so glad that you brought that up, the 80/20, because that will completely revolutionize most of the speakers' careers, right? They realize the core concepts really never change. You
Right.
can shift it to relate to the audience that you're going to speak with,
Yeah.
but you don't need to create a whole new talk for
Yeah.
that. As a matter of fact, don't
Yeah.
create a whole new talk, because what makes you, Roy, are those principles that you've caught along the way that
Mhm.
have catapulted your career and made you the industry expert that you are. So why switch that up? I love that you said that. So when these companies come, at least in the beginning, when they came to you,
Mm.
and I'm sure they probably came with a price, did you ever counter offer? And outside of that host check, so this is a two-part question. So you
Sure.
get the host check. How impactful has speaking been to your company outside of that host check?
Yeah. So one of the huge advantages of having an agent is third party negotiation, right? So my agent negotiating on behalf of me is immensely valuable for whatever their cut is. Like they're like, yeah, Mr. Bella this, Mr. Bella that. He requires this. He requires that. Like, the having you don't call yourself Mr. Bella. Like, the having your agent who's your representative, who's both negotiating on your behalf and setting up the travel, and needs to be business class if it's over, blah blah blah, like figuring out all that stuff. Again, status. Like then you arrive at the speaking venue and the people are like, yes, we spoke to your agent about this, and they requested that, like, blah blah blah. Like that's all about status. And look, the reality of public speaking is it's a bit like luxury goods. And the reason I say that is sometimes it's good to be reassured. It's my favorite British phrase I'm about to tell you: reassuringly expensive.
Mm.
So in luxury goods, you need to price high because that reassures the customer of value. You don't Public speaking, like luxury goods, is not cost plus. It's not, here's what it takes to make the handbag and then I add a markup on it. No, 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 no. It's value. Like you're pricing for value. Value is in the eyes of the beholder. It's the person who buys it. If you come in as a public speaker and you're too cheap, then your message is not valuable.
Hmm.
It's as simple as that. And by the way, also you're not in demand. So you got to remember, luxury goods are about scarce resources, right? If everyone had a Cartier bag or whatever the luxury item is, it's no longer valuable, right? It's that there's few around. It's classic economics, supply, demand, blah, blah, blah. You are unique. Literally, it's like you're the only one. You're the one. You're the Hope Diamond. You're the only one of you around. So in principle, you should be goddamn expensive, like really expensive, because you're not only the only one around, but your time is limited. So I'm either doing you or I'm doing them. That's it. I can't be in two places, right?
Yeah.
So reassuringly expensive attributes value to your message. Now, can you discount? Sure. Sure. Oh, I know that. Is that too expensive for you guys? Well, I hear that. Let me think about it. What do you think you can manage? You know, but you set a high anchor and you can negotiate down if you need to. But often you don't need to because the other side goes, whoa, yeah, we're getting a high powered speaker. High powered? Yeah, that's translating high cost, right? So I tell folks all the time, like, don't undervalue the value that you're bringing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's so much wisdom in what you just said. And it's something that I talk to my speakers about every time. So you need to earn your place of expertise, become very, very good at
Yeah.
at your craft, because then you really are worth it, right?
Sure.
Okay. So let's say Nike, right? They're going to bring in a speaker for their quarterly executive event.
Sure.
The organizer has a budget. Let's say she's got 15,000, 25,000 for the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Three speakers come in, you might be the best one. You come in at 5,000. Somebody else comes at 10, somebody comes in at 25. Let's say they're their
Yeah,
budget stops at 15.
yeah,
They're going to go the $5,000 person's out for exactly what you said. It's just a perception. Even
totally.
though you might be the better speaker, there must be something wrong if you're 5,000. You're out, right?
Yep.
15,000 maybe, well maybe we'll do them, but let me try to get that $25,000 guy to see if he'll do it
And by the way, if they can
for
get the $25,000 guy for 20, they got a deal.
Yes. Yes, and it's not so much a game as, like you said, establishing your value. I always invoice at the rate, right? Let's
Of
say the
course, and then
secret's
you show
20.
the discount for whatever reason. The other thing is you can give a first time discount. Okay, well, I've never engaged with you guys before. For a first time, I'll give you a discount of 10% or 20% as a first time. So for instance, like Aviva, my first presentation, the leadership summit of the CEO, I did give a discount, but it was recognized as a discount. From then on, I was paid full rack for the rest of,
Yes.
right? Like, so that's the other thing to keep in mind. Am I dealing with a one-off, or am I dealing with an event organizer who does a dozen events a year? Am I dealing with a conference producer? Am I dealing with a corporate who does a dozen offsites a year in different locations? Or like the repeat play matters. And so, I mean, again, all of this is sort of pricing strategy, right? Like how you position yourself matters. But I do tell people all the time, like, you are a luxury good. You're the only one of you around. It's as simple as that. Like, it doesn't get more luxury.
Yes,
If
and
there was,
positioning yourself is owning yourself, right? Owning that. Oh my goodness, Roy, I love what you're saying. I have a colleague who, if somebody is past 5 minutes to meet with her, it needs to be rescheduled. She won't wait around for 10 minutes. And she will never reschedule within 2 weeks. At first, I'm like, oh, come on, right?
no, I'm booked. Sorry.
Yes, yes. So
100%.
key.
I will never. So it's funny you should say it. That again, status. So people say, "Can you meet tomorrow?" I'm like, "Tomorrow?" I'm like, "No way!" Like a couple weeks out max. Like, I'm sorry, my schedule back to back, and if you don't show, again, it's at least a week, maybe two. The only reason it'll be a week is that I want to meet with them, but I still can't show too much eagerness, right? Like, again, this is all the same game. It's storytelling and status, right? So if
Yes.
you're available tomorrow, what does that mean? Like, and again, I am not saying that the other person is consciously registering that. I'm not saying that they go, "Oh, well, he has free time," but they are, because we are a tribal group, and tribes and teams and humans interacting. It's just the truth of the matter, like. And by the way, if I make an exception and someone goes, "Oh, it's really, you sure?" I always say, "Let me see what I can bump."
So it's never immediate.
It's never immediate. I gotta, my calendar's full, but for you, you're more important maybe than some of my meetings. Let me see what's going on. Let me take a look at it. And now, by the way, it's who's doing who a favor. All of a sudden, I took a meeting that I had and I pushed it off to put them in. That person is like grateful, like,
Yes.
wow, thank you for making the time. Again, I mean, I'm afraid that I'm making it sound like it's some sort of like psychological warfare game, but it's not. It's just how humans interact with one another. It's just the
Yes.
reality of so this is my real point. My real point is, be conscious of the message you convey. So if you're available at a moment's notice tomorrow, your time is not full, and so you're not so valuable. It's just as simple as that, right? Like, and it's the same with setting a high price. You're a luxury item. The price should be high. Every time you take an action, you are conveying other things other than the piece of other than what you think. There's more to every interaction than what you think.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of time, I'm so appreciative of yours because I know how in demand you are. I have three more questions for you. Are you good?
Yeah,
Fast ones, fast ones.
yeah. I'm good. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, really quick. First one. Other than those host checks, what has speaking done for your business? Why would you put one of your staff on the stage? Is it just because you think they should be speaking, or is it valuable for your business?
Oh no, it's yeah, no. Again, status, right? If so, as soon as you're up on stage, everyone in the audience thinks this has value. It's literally raised above. Think about it. Like there's a visual aspect to this that matters. Like you are above the audience, literally and figuratively. They're like, okay, this has value. Someone else, not me, decided that this person should be raised above the rest of us. Invaluable. Invaluable.
Yes. Oh
But
gosh.
I mean, hell yeah. Look at the TED conference. You put someone in a red dot, and all of a sudden their status goes.
Yeah, they've spoken for what, 15, 18 minutes? Like
On
at a
whatever
university where
on
maybe there's 50 people in the audience.
yeah, but and that's the also the value of TEDx, right? Like getting that brand out there is important. It gets yeah, no, it's invaluable to any company. It gets the word out, and again, it increases your status.
Positioning. Yes, love it. Okay, Roy, I know by this time there are people in our audience who definitely want to get a hold of you. I know you have a huge following on LinkedIn. What are some of the best ways to find you? And do you want to be reached?
Sure, of course, I want to be. I mean, we didn't even talk about my current business and next collabs and AI and,
Let's do
and the
it.
world.
Let's do it.
I mean,
Real
AI
quick.
is exploding, obviously. So yeah, I'm easy. I'm blessed with a fairly unique name. Roy Vela at anything gets to me. Roy Vela at the end of LinkedIn is me. Roy Vela at Gmail will get to me. You name it. Like you search Roy Vela, you're pretty. There's a graphic designer in Florida who has my name, but he doesn't have a lot of the.
Very outside of your space. So Vella,
He's
Vella. Very easy. Roy
VELLA.
Vella.
All one word, anywhere, pretty much finds me. Next collabs, very quickly. We are solving the 2023 problem, right? Everyone got the message at the end of 2023 that the person with AI is going to outpace the person without AI.
Should we be afraid of AI?
No, I don't think so. I think so. It's not going to take jobs; it's going to take tasks.
Mm.
We talk about two prongs. There's augmentation at the top; it makes you more prolific, productive, efficient, effective, and automation at the bottom. We already have a word for it. We call it busy work. It's called busy work because we know it doesn't require the frontal lobe. But before the AI moment, we needed a human to do it still. Now, I mean, what we say is it's a very humanizing moment because I'm going to give the machine work to the machine and the human work to the human. The creative endeavor, I think it's an accelerant. I think it's going to augment us. It's going to make life easier and better. Are there tedious jobs that are going to go away? Yeah, there. If there's any rote, repetitive, tedious, dirty, dangerous job, will probably go to the machine. But no, I think it's going to. Well, again, as it says on LinkedIn, I'm a techno optimist, right? I think that there's a huge opportunity. It's a change though, and any change is uncomfortable. But I think it's going to be massively positive. I think the tyranny of the blank page is over. The staring at a blank screen or at a blank notebook, you're going to get what AI will enable is to get the ball rolling. I tell my teenagers, it gets the ball rolling. If you submit what comes out, you're going to get a C or a D. But we're all good editors and curators, and you're going to say, "Oh, I like this. I don't like this. Or I was thinking that," and you're going to make it your own.
You
I
always
think
need the human, right? You always need the human.
always need the
I
human.
We got an app thinking we were going to be so like so on it.
Right.
Sometimes my team needs me to just have a little video clip, and I'm slow to get it to them because I'm like you
Sure.
said, back to back to
Sure.
back.
Yeah.
So I got the app, right? I did all this stuff. They could just type in the words. The app does me. It
Sure.
does me good, but you
Yeah.
don't get
Not great.
me, not the
100%.
yes, techno optimist. Love that.
Co-intelligence. There's a great book by a Wharton Business School professor called Ethan Mollick. Very worth following him on LinkedIn. But his book is called Co-Intelligence: Living and Working with AI. And the reason I recommend it is it's practical, tactical. He's like, here's what we've got. Here's how it works. Here's how you can add value to your life using it.
So
And
good.
and so yeah. So next collabs, we're not creating AI. There's a Cambrian explosion of AI. There's plenty of AI around. We help people adopt a new thought partner that happens to not have a body.
Ooh,
Um,
okay, let me say that. We adopt a new thought partner that happens to not have a body.
Right. So there's a new thought partner in the equation who can add a lot of value and get a lot of legwork done for you, but doesn't, so a collab is actually a thing. It's a third space where humans locally, humans remotely, and AI are all collaborating, but it's the lab part is more important. It's a place of experimentation and iteration and practice, right? You need to practice. It's a very counterintuitive tool. It is not like Microsoft Office or any prior technological tool. And so I tell people, you can sit in the stands, but if I'm really going to teach you this, you need to come out onto the field, right? Like that's what we do is we help with behavioral change, because a lot of the way you interact with AI is not intuitive. It's about context and it's about iteration and practice.
So
Um,
is this a consulting service that you offer? Is it a workshop, a class?
it's
What tell us?
it's consulting, but it's more coaching than consulting to a certain extent. Like I'm not going to leave you with a strategy deck, right? Like I am going to leave you. I'm going to change your life. Like you're going to. It's a fundamental shift in how you work in the knowledge economy. We tell folks, if you're using a keyboard and a screen and you're not using AI, you're already falling behind. And it's a shift. And again, change, shift, transformation. These are all words of discomfort, but that's how you learn. And that's how you grow. And, our best client increases revenue 50% and decides, let's just go to a 4-day work week because we can, because
Yeah,
we're
and
more
instead of sticking your head in the sand just because you're not really welcoming the concept of AI, you're going to lose some footing. You're going to lose some ground.
we
So
look,
we'll let you be comfortable with that for
we,
us.
we landed on the wrong A and on the wrong I. Artificial seems fake, not real, insubstantial, and intelligence implies thoughtfulness and correctness. It's really augmented imagination. Where we are at the
Mm.
moment is that it is an imaginative, creative tool. If anyone is working with words and images, they should be augmenting their imagination through an AI thought partner. We will have artificial intelligence, right? A full RAG, which validates the statements, that makes sure that they're true, is coming. Perplexity is a lot like that. Gemini is already getting there. ChatGPT is starting to cite sources when they state facts. But for the most part, it's augmented imagination. That's what it does.
Ah, okay. That's a whole conversation.
It's a whole
At some
different.
point, I'd love to have you back just to talk about that, right? Because
Sure,
it's
yeah,
going to
I could talk
affect
about AI forever.
every one of our lives. So, in closing, what would you say to an emerging speaker now in this world of augmented imagination?
Mm,
How are they going to stand out? They are an expert in their field. They want to get their voices out there. The competition's pretty fierce.
sure.
The stages are limited, right? What is your one challenge to those who really want to take their voice and get it out there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a discomfort, right? I think they need to be pushing their own knowledge and their own. Well, okay, strike that. Excitement. They need to be excited about the content that they're sharing, right? Like if you're not excited and fascinated by your content, the audience will not be. Full stop. Second, the discomfort and the learning has to be perpetual. Like if you have a deck that doesn't change every time you get off stage. So my deck was constantly evolving. Every time I got off stage, I had a new idea. Like, oh, I should do that instead of this, and like it should be constant. It should be a living, evolving beast. It is not if it's static at all, you're not going to last. Like it should be constant, and which is the other reason that person kept coming to my presentations, because it was constantly evolving. And then C, I would say, think in terms of story. What is the story you're telling? What's the when they leave the room? Let me tell you this: if they leave the room and you want them to remember a statistic, you don't want to be a public speaker. You want them to leave the room feeling something new and different, such that they want to learn more. Like there's no scenario where they leave the room like, oh, now I know everything about that. That's not your job. Your job is to ignite and inspire exploration, where the person goes, I want to learn. I want to talk to that guy. I want to learn more about what he knows. I want to go research. They should be doing searches and wanting. It's about inspiration and eagerness and igniting that fire That's your job. And that's about telling a story. At the end of the story, they go, whoo, I need to learn more about that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the secret sauce of all this, right? You know, the reason you get invited back is because people are like, man, I know that I'm just what I just saw is the tip of the iceberg. That's the feeling they should get. That there's a whole iceberg under there that I don't know anything about and I need to learn more.
Which gets them back, right? A talk is really just the first step in a journey. Hopefully, if you've done it right, they don't walk away thinking they got everything. I never need to see Roy Vela again. It's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
there's so much depth.
Totally.
Roy, you have been a wealth. I am so appreciative. A wealth. Like,
My
I
pleasure.
want to go back and watch this episode and take more notes, aside from the 10 I already took, 10 pages of notes I took.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom on
My pleasure.
SpeakPact and for joining into this pact to make the impact where only we can, right? There's no other Roy Vela. There's no other Antoniette Rose. There's no other you who's listening
Yeah.
right now. Nobody can step into those shoes but you. So thank you for joining in on this journey today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a fabulous week. And to all of you listeners, ciao, ciao for now.
Ciao.